Al Cook, thank you so much for joining us during your first Indaba, of course. You know, I want to start here with this news that we got this week about De Beers' MOU signed with Angola. You said partially the reason was because the supply of new diamond mines was running out. I mean, are you anticipating a further contraction in the diamond sector in 2024? What's your outlook?
Look, we're really excited about the deal that we signed with the Angolan government yesterday. And you're absolutely right. There's only really been one diamond discovery in the entire of the 21st century. So there is a growing shortage of natural diamond. We are past peak supplies of natural diamonds, and we believe that Angola is the best place in the world to go exploring for diamonds.
What does that mean then for 2024? I mean, what are you anticipating?
Well, in 2024, we'll be investing for the long term. So in South Africa, that means ramping up the Venetia mine that we started up, the underground mine there that we started up just last year. In Botswana, that means ploughing ahead with our plans for the Zwaneng underground mine and building on that. In Namibia, that means building up production from our new vessel, the Benguela Gem. And in Angola, that means moving forward at pace with exploration. So 2024 is about investing for the long term in our African producer countries.
Well, let's talk about at pace. What's the next step really with this MOU? Now that it's signed, I mean, what would at pace look like in 2024?
So what we're doing in Angola is we're working below the ground and we're working above the ground. So below the ground, we've got 2 exploration blocks. We signed those in 2022, and we're actively exploring on those at the moment. And that means airborne surveys followed by drilling. But what's really important in Angola is above the ground, and that starts with the reforms that President Lourenço has brought in, driving transparency across Angola. But what we're doing in our new agreement is we are supporting the Angolan government, bringing the best of our GemFair technology from Sierra Leone, bringing the best of our sorting technology from Botswana, and bringing all those to bear in Angola so that we can really lift the standards of the whole value chain and make sure that we're really proud to sell a diamond from Angola.
Dig into that a little bit more, I mean, in terms of pricing and numbers, if you can.
So we are putting tens of millions of dollars into airborne exploration. That will be followed up by a drilling program in any areas that we can, that we suspect there are kimberlites, which are diamond-bearing rocks. So what we do first of all is we fly airplanes over using electromagnetic devices that can look 300 meters under the ground and detect the presence of kimberlite diamond-bearing rocks. And then, of course, we have to drill down through those rocks to find out if there really are diamonds below the Earth's crust.
Well, and I know part of this, Al, you were mentioning the reforms of the government. I mean, was there any stipulation in this new agreement to ensure that this agreement continues no matter what party is in power? Because we've seen, you know, other agreements across the world crumble when there are different parties shifts in power. I mean, how do you ensure that this is here to stay for Angola?
So wherever we operate as De Beers, we believe we play a role in supporting governments to raise their standards. We invest over the very long term. We're 136 years old this year. And that means that we can invest over the decades. But that also means that we need to work with governments to ensure stable frameworks and to invest in the people of the country in order to ensure stability in terms of employment, in terms of the benefits we bring. A great example of that is what we've done in Botswana, where we've reached agreement with the government of Botswana to start a fund called Diamonds for Development. And what we're doing there is investing tens of millions of dollars every year, not just cash, but also our resources, our muscle, to help drive sustainable development across the Botswana economy.
Do you anticipate to increase that investment over time, or are you sticking pretty closely to the books here?
So in Botswana, we will be putting forward 1 billion pula of investment. That's around about $75 million of investment this year into the Diamonds for Development Fund. And then we'll be investing a steady proportion of our profits going forward into that fund so that we keep that investment up over the next decade. In parallel, we're investing in mining, and we're moving forward with the $1 billion first phase of the Zhuaneng underground project. And that, of course, is on top of all our ongoing operations.
And the same thing in Angola, or is it slightly different in terms of investment?
Investment levels in Angola around exploration are lower than in mining. But if we're successful in exploration, and if we can discover the world-class diamond resources that we believe are there, then that would lead to huge new mines and the creation of the kind of tens of thousands of jobs that we see in Botswana. We believe we can recreate those in Angola.
And so then when do you see that, Al? I mean, because a lot of this is dependent on what is found, of course, as you mentioned, with the exploration. I mean, what's your expectation for when you'll actually be able to see some returns here?
So through our new digitalization, we're accelerating exploration in a way that we never could before. But we also recognize that exploration does take time. So the new agreement that we've signed with the government of Angola envisages us and sets out the way that we will work with their local diamond company, Endiama, to look at existing diamond discoveries and to try to work out whether, if we can apply De Beers technology, the proprietary technology that we have, which is better than anyone else's in the world, if we can apply that technology to existing resources, can we accelerate the development of diamond resources there rather than waiting on the traditional timescales of exploration? So that we're really excited about.
Al, I also wanted to ask about, in terms of pricing and what we're seeing in the diamond market right now, and in particular for De Beers. I mean, do you see this potentially as the floor and it will only go up from here, or what are you looking at right now?
So when we look at diamond demand, I think the place to start with is our most recent sale, the first sight of 2024. The value of that sale was as large as the value of the two previous sales, the two last sales of 2023 combined. So we've definitely seen an uptick there. But as we look forward, we expect that upturn in diamond demand to be gradual rather than sudden. More of a U than a V, if you know what I mean.
Where do you see that demand coming from predominantly?
So 2023 was a very challenging year for the diamond industry, and lower demand in 2023 was driven by three things. First of all, it was falls in the global economic growth rates. We certainly saw that. The second thing we saw is long COVID, if you like, a lag in engagement rates in both the United States and in China because no one had met each other during lockdowns. The third thing we saw, undoubtedly, was encroachment by lab-grown diamonds. All three of those factors we expect to reverse in 2024. So we expect GDP to be cyclical, as it always has been. We expect engagement rates to increase in both the United States and in China. And we expect that lab-grown prices will continue to fall. They've fallen by more than 90% over the last 2 years, and customers clearly see now that natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds are two entirely different things.
But there's a certain level of uncertainty, right, Al, for the current conditions right now. I mean, what's your expectation for whether or not you'll actually be able to sustain that sort of demand that you're talking about from the U.S. and from China?
So we see 2024 as a year of recovery. We don't expect a short, sharp recovery. We expect more of a long, gradual recovery. But we are very confident in the demand for diamonds in the long term. They've been treasured by humanity for thousands of years. They are the most precious, hardest, most beautiful product of nature. They're incredible. And we believe that that demand that has been around for thousands of years will continue for the next decades, hundreds, and probably thousands of years.
Well, part of that, Al, I like that optimism, but part of something that might get in the way of it is what we're hearing from the G7, actually trying to keep diamonds from Russia out of the West. And we've heard De Beers comment on that a little bit. I mean, what is your perspective on that proposed rule? Does it affect potentially your bottom line?
So we support the desire of the G7 to put sanctions on Russian diamonds. What we really want to ensure is that as the G7 does that, there are no unintended consequences, unintended negative consequences for ethical African producers. So what we want to ensure is that great African producers of diamonds that employ thousands and thousands of jobs across South Africa, across Namibia, across Botswana and other countries. They are allowed to provide diamonds to customers across the G7 in the same way that they always have been. That's really important to us.
So then what does that mean for negotiations right now in regards to that in particular? Because you just said you don't want to see unintended consequences for African producers. I mean, how are you talking then to the G7 about this?
So over the years, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, countries like that have proven that they can certify their own diamonds in a very reliable, very holistic way that customers can trust. And we as De Beers have been at the forefront of that, because our customers need to know that when they buy a diamond from De Beers, it is exactly the diamond that we say it is. And that is at the forefront of everything that we do. What we are talking to the G7 about is building on those processes to ensure that every African nation that is trusted to certify its diamonds, those certifications can be used to give confidence to the G7 as to where the diamonds that they import really come from. And we believe there's every reason for the G7 to work with ethical African producers to create a win-win here for both our customers and for the countries that rely so much on the income from natural diamonds.
Are you confident, though, that the outcome is actually going to be a win-win, as you mentioned?
I am confident that we can work with the G7, with African producers, with the consumers of natural diamonds, with our clients around the world to get to an outcome here that works for all sides, that encourages more production of ethical African diamonds and allows customers to know exactly where their diamonds have come from, and also to know the good that has been done ever since that diamond was recovered from the ground. We believe it's incredibly important that customers around the world know the source of their diamonds in the way they care about where their food is from, where their coffee is from, where everything is from. Provenance is the absolute key to great marketing in the 21st century.
Could potentially the proposal to have Belgium then a part of the screening process help with that, or do you see something else? Is there another alternative that you're maybe looking at?
We believe that the right solution for ensuring that G7 nations know where their diamonds come from is to allow trusted, ethical African producers to certify their own diamonds. The government of Namibia knows whether a diamond is from Namibia or not. The government of Botswana knows whether a diamond is from Botswana or not. Let's work with those governments to certify their diamonds in a way that brings confidence to the people who buy the diamonds in America or the United Kingdom or Belgium or anywhere else, to celebrate the most special moments of their lives.
So that sounds like a no, Al. Is that correct?
We certainly believe that we should avoid a single node, a single place of certification, and instead we should allow African countries that have produced ethical diamonds for decades to have the freedom to export those diamonds where they want in the world.
And finally, Al, when are you anticipating a decision on this? Do you think it'll come in the next few months?
We're expecting decisions on sanctions on diamonds to be phased in over the course of 2024, and we are committed to working with the G7 nations to ensure that they achieve their aims and they avoid unintended consequences.
Great to have you, Al Cook, CEO of De Beers, in Cape Town for us. Al, great to talk to you.